Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football late Saturday night. Kind of a sneaky, massive storyline for Texas A&M as four-star cornerback Victor Singleton flips his commitment from Illinois to Texas A&M. Now, in the landscape of college football right now, I think there's a lot of attention that's going to the spring transfer portal window in the players you're seeing move across the country. Don't overlook this commitment for Texas A&M. Personally, one of my favorite cornerbacks in the 2026 cycle, and a little bit of a different flavor, you might say, from Mike Elko and Texas A&M. Like, we've seen Mike Elko really value height, weight, speed profiles. They want big, long cornerbacks that can run really fast. Victor Singleton, a little bit of a smaller cornerback at 5'11", 160, does not have the crazy track and field times. Probably the best pure cornerback in this 2026 cycle. He is a technician at the position, and that's different from a lot of other cornerbacks we talk about coming out of high school. I mean, most of the time we're talking about cornerbacks and we're talking about arm length and we're talking about height and we're talking about track speeds and like all those things, those athletic profile metrics, you might say, those are important to playing the cornerback position. Sometimes we overlook, like, hey, are you just a good football player? That's what Victor Singleton is. And then you look at the recruitment battle that you win here. I know he was committed to Illinois. I'm a Michigan fan. Michigan and Ohio State were both in it in a big time way for this kid. And Texas A&M goes up into the Midwest and lands one of the better prospects in the Midwest that you see in the country. Now, this makes me want to get into a conversation that's a little bit deeper than Victor Singleton, and that is what Mike Elko is doing at Texas A&M. And I think it was on full display yesterday during the spring game. I get that spring game was very sloppy, as are 99% of spring games that you see across the country. The thing that stood out to me the most is the young talent that Mike Elko has recruited. When you take a look at that 2025 class, the early enrollees who were participating in that spring game. I know it's early on in their college football careers. God, does it seem like Texas A&M hit on a lot of young kids. And that's kind of how Mike Elko's doing this thing. Like, hey, we want to recruit the high school ranks. We want to get these guys in our pipeline. We want to develop them the right way. That first real class for Mike Elko in 2025, that seems like it has the opportunity to be a very good young nucleus that Mike Elko can really build with over the next couple of years. Now, let's start with Victor Singleton. Let's start with what Texas A&M is doing on the recruiting trail. Then we're going to talk about where this program's going. Before we get into it, as always, the Texas A&M fans, appreciate you guys. And again, was the spring game the most exciting thing we've seen on a football field yesterday? No, but it was a blast watching it. Yeah, anytime I get some football on a Saturday, I'm going to take it. A lot of y'all showed a ton of support yesterday as we broke it down. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into Victor Singleton. Now, again, he's got some length in the arms, which matters a lot. He's not the biggest cornerback. He's not the fastest cornerback. This dude knows what he's doing as a football player and always seems to be like in the right spot at the right time. You were going to turn on the film. He's a ball hawking cornerback. I mean, he always seems to be making plays on the footballs and always seems to be in the right spot. You're going to see a really smooth athlete that knows how to play the cornerback position. This is, to me, about as blue chip as it gets. And because he's so good at the position, the smaller frame, you might say, doesn't really matter because he's always in the right spot. Turning it on, I mean, one of the things that I love is just to feel for the position. Whether it's in zone coverage, hey, I'm just keeping my eyes on the quarterback, and I'm going to make a play on the football, come off, make a play on the football. You see some juice. Again, I feel like I'm painting this kid out as like a bad athlete. He's not a bad athlete. You're not a top 50 prospect in the country if you are a bad athlete. But again, the feel and how smooth he is, his ability to read the quarterback's eyes and break on the football, dude just lives to get his hands on the football. And again, very, very similar thing here. Range. We're boundary cornerback here. We're going to cover a lot of ground to go make a play on this football. Great feel for the position. Always seems to be forcing turnovers. Now we could watch a little bit more of the film, and again, it's a really fun film study to watch. This it's textbook stuff. Then go make a play on the football. But what I want to kind of focus on a little bit more is one, this Texas A&M class in 2026 is sneaky, really, really good. It's a top 5 class with only 11 commitments in the fold. You're kind of going all over the country to land these guys, right? You're going into the Midwest, going into the Southeast, you're going into the state of California. That's what stands out to me immediately. But then I just said blue chip city. You might not have that top 10 national prospect, but man, do you have a lot of football players that I think are going to play a lot of good football for Texas A&M over the next couple of years. Now, this is kind of what I want to get into, is this young class that Mike Elko has built. The young talent that's coming into the roster that Mike Elko has recruited. You saw some good things from Lamont Rogers. He's going to be a starter for Texas A&M, probably not this year. Keati Armstrong, I mean, man, is that as impressive of a tight end as you'll see in terms of just looking the part? Feel good about Keati Armstrong and what he can do at the tight end position. DJ Sanders certainly looks the part. You go down to Adonis Curry, thought he had a very good spring game. Noah McKell, thought he had a very good spring game. Marco Jones was probably the most impressive freshman on the field, maybe outside of a guy like Landon Rink, who's all the way down here as a 3-star prospect. He's going to be a good football player for Texas A&M. One of the biggest thing I think that stood out in kind of a sloppy spring game where, how I always approach spring games is like I'm not going to grade the team as a whole. To me, it's a little bit of a check-in in terms of where players are at. Those early freshmen, I thought were some of the more impressive football players on the field for Texas A&M. That tells me that, one, the evaluations are really good. You feel really good about the type of guys Mike Elko is bringing in this program, hitting on your evaluations. Then secondly, I mean, in the span of a 3-month spring practice window and winter workout period, you're seeing a lot of guys that are probably ready to play SEC football in 2025. Excuse me. Really big fan of the young nucleus that Mike Elko is building. And like we talked about yesterday, there are going to be a lot of programs and coaches in this modern era of college football that want the quick fix. And look, Mike Elko has used the portal, and he's used the portal pretty damn effectively. But he wants to do this thing the right way. And you're kind of seeing that take place over the last couple of months, especially with what we saw in that spring game yesterday afternoon. And it sounds like Texas A&M is nowhere near being done building out this 2026 class. I mean, going back to the biggest question we had about Mike Elko, I don't think any of us are all that surprised that the player development is taking place at Texas A&M. That was the thing we loved the most about Mike Elko coming from Duke. We knew he could develop players. Did it at Duke. Our question was, hey, can he recruit at the level necessary to do what Texas A&M wants to do as a program? That is compete for SEC championships and compete for national championships. Recruiting plenty good enough to win at the highest level. And so if you can continue to recruit the way Mike Elko is doing, develop the way that we know Mike Elko can, man, that's the recipe to being an elite college football program. And it seems like that's taking place in College Station. Now, does that mean it's going to take place in 2025? We'll see. But you feel good, at least in my opinion, of where this program might be going. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.